Hello and welcome to this Electrical Principles training video. In this video we're going to continue building on our understanding of the laws of illumination, and in this case we're actually going to look at a typical exam question that may well come up in your exams. So we need to know how to answer this type of question. It won't be exactly like this, but it'll be somewhere along these lines. So you can see on the board here, and again you might expect to get this in an exam, you might have a drawing that looks a bit like this. We've got a point of illumination up here that has a luminous intensity of 2000 candelas. It's clearly mounted at a height of 2.1 meters, and you can see here that we've got these dotted lines indicating the direction that the light is traveling in. And the question is, find the illuminance directly below the lamp at point A and at point B. Now, I'm always telling my learners to read the question carefully, and unfortunately sometimes this gets a little bit lost in translation because they kind of stop reading at this point here. So they say, find the illuminance directly below the lamp, and so they try and figure out what the illuminance is right there, and that starts to cause them some problems. So in this case, we've got to think about what the question means. Clearly we're not interested in what the illuminance level is directly underneath the lamp there. It means in a straight line down, in other words, perpendicularly below the lamp. So that's what we're looking at there. So we want to find out what the light level is at point A and what the light level is at point B. We've got two values for length here. We've got the height that the fitting is mounted at, 2.1 meters, and we've also got the distance between point A and point B is 2 meters. So we need to start working out how we're going to do this. So let's do the easy bit first. We can easily figure out what the level of illumination is directly below the lamp at point A here. That's nice and easy. We just have to use the inverse square law. And of course, we've looked at the inverse square law in previous videos. So hopefully by this stage, if you've been following the videos carefully, you'll know that what we're looking for is the inverse square law. So if we want to find the illuminance at point A, then we're going to use this calculation, I divided by D squared. So we're going to do that calculation. So it's just a matter of putting the numbers in. We're going to say we've got a luminous intensity, the I there, how bright the light source is, of 2000 candelas. So we're going to do 2000, and then we're going to divide that by D squared. Remember, D is the distance from source to surface. So in this case, we're looking at this 2.1 meter distance here. So 2000 divided by 2.1, and remember we've got to square that distance in order to get the right answer. So we'll stick that into the calculator and see what we come out with. 2000, I like to use the fraction button for this, 2 divided by 2.1 squared. And that comes out at 453.51. 453.51. And remember, the unit for illuminance, in this case at point A, is 453.51 lux, like that. So we've figured out what the illuminance is at point A, directly below the lamp. And now we've got to try and figure out what the illuminance is at point B over here. So there's going to be some things that change because we've now got the light source is no longer just shining the light straight down and hitting the surface at a right angle. It's actually coming down and hitting it at some angle here. Remember, the angle that we're interested in is actually the angle from perpendicular. So it's that angle there, but you remember in a previous video we said we can actually consider it to be that angle there. So let's think about the formula that we're going to use. So I'll change my pen colour just so we can keep it fresh. We're going to try and figure out what the illuminance is now at point B. So we've got the illuminance at point B is I, and because we're now shining the light at an angle down here, we can say, well, that is I times cos theta. So this is the cosine rule for lighting that we're looking at here. And again, we're going to divide that by D squared. So almost the same calculation again. We've just factored in this cos theta, the angle. Now, a couple of things that we need to be careful of here that's going to kind of trip us up if we don't exercise a little bit of caution. One of them is the value that we're going to use for the distance. Okay, so again, we don't want to get confused and keep thinking that it's the height here. It is the distance from source to surface. So in other words, we've got to find this length here in order to put that into our calculation to figure out what the illuminance is at point B. So that value there will be this distance from source to surface along here. So we've not been given that value, so we've not been given that number, and that means we're going to have to figure it out. So before we can do this calculation, we've got to do some kind of supplementary calculations before we get there. So let's have a think about how we're going to do that. Let's try and find out what the value for the distance is first of all. So looking at this shape here, you can see we've got a right angled triangle. Okay, so this is hitting perpendicular to the surface, so that is clearly a right angle. And we're interested in the length of this side here. So hopefully, again, if you've been following my series of videos carefully, you'll know that what we're going to have to do here is apply some Pythagoras Theorem to try and figure out how long that line is, how long that distance is. So it simply becomes a matter of doing some Pythagoras. So we've got a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And that's our old friend Pythagoras there, a lovely formula that we've looked at before. And we've just got to think about what kind of sides we're dealing with here. So it might be an idea just to label these up. We'll just call this maybe A, we'll call this B, and we'll call this C. And this is the side that we're trying to find, the long side there. And that's how we can kind of relate it to Pythagoras' theorem. Of course, we're going to use D for distance, which is that length there. But for Pythagoras' theorem's sake, we'll just call it C for now. So we're going to put the numbers in here. So A is 2.1 squared plus B, which is 2 squared, is equal to C squared. And of course, we're not actually interested in finding what C squared is. We're interested in finding out what C itself is. So in order to do that, we would square root both sides. So the square root of 2.1 squared plus 2 squared will be equal to our value for C. So we can just stick this straight into the calculator exactly as it's laid out here. Okay, so again, I'll show you how to do that. I actually already know what the answer for this is going to be. So I'll admit that rather than pretending to do this in my head and just amazing you. I'll try and be honest. So we've got the square root of 2.1 squared, so we can press the square root button, plus 2 squared like that. So once we put that into the calculator, we hit the equals button and we come out with 2.9. So our value for C is 2.9. So that means that this distance here is actually 2.9 meters. There we go. So that's 2.9 meters. So we know that this is the length we're interested in, the distance from source to surface. So we're going to be able to put that into our calculation here. Okay, so let's do that now. Let's put that bit of the calculation in. So we've got the illuminance at point B will be equal to I, we know that number, 2000 times by the cosine of theta, we'll come back to that in a minute, divided by this distance here, 2.9 squared, 2.9 squared. Okay, so before we can complete the calculation, we need to put in this value for the cosine of theta. Now, this, at first glance, it might seem a little bit tricky because we've not got the angle here. However, for this question, we don't actually need the angle. We could figure it out. We could use trigonometry to try and figure out what the angle is. But actually, we don't need to do that. We don't need to know what that angle is. All we need to know is what is the cosine of that angle. And again, if you think back to your trigonometry, and again, if you've not watched my video on trigonometry, then please go back and do so because it's going to massively help you out here. Hopefully, you'll remember that the cosine of theta, so if we want to find the cosine of an angle theta, we need to do a particular calculation, and that calculation is the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. Now, if you don't know where this formula's suddenly sprung from, fully formed, then please go and watch my videos on trigonometry and Pythagoras' theorem, because they're going to help you massively with this part of the course. And to be honest, pretty much everything that we look at in electrical science has triangles buried in it somewhere. So understanding Pythagoras and trigonometry is really, really important. So I've got the cosine of theta is equal to the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. Going back to our drawing again, we now need to figure out, well, which side is the adjacent and which side is the hypotenuse. It's fairly easy to identify the hypotenuse. It's always the longest side of the right angle triangle, and it's always opposite the right angle. So that's the hypotenuse, 2.9. However, we need to know what the adjacent side is. So which one of these sides is the adjacent? Well, to know that, we have to know which of the angles we're interested in. And remember we said that we're actually interested in this angle here, how far from perpendicular the light beam is hitting the surface at. But we also said that actually, because of the laws of angles and geometry, we could consider it to be this angle here. So this is the angle theta that is going to affect the illumination level here. So because that's the angle we're interested in, we can now identify the adjacent side of the triangle, and the adjacent side of the triangle is next to the angle. So we are adjacent or next to the angle, therefore this side is the adjacent. Ignore the fact that that says A, that's a complete coincidence, okay? It could have easily, I could have labelled these up the other way around and this still would have worked, but that side there is the adjacent in relation to that angle. So we've got our adjacent, we've got our hypotenuse, we can put them into our calculation. So the cosine of theta is equal to the adjacent, which has a value of 2.1, divided by the hypotenuse, which has a value of 2.9. So therefore we can now figure out what the cosine of theta is going to be. So let's put that into our calculator. 2.1 divided by 2.9 is going to give us 0.724. Okay, so 3 decimal places is reasonable for this kind of level of trigonometry that we're doing here. So let me just double check that. 0.724. Okay, so we've got there our cosine of theta value. So that is the cosine of theta. Now, at this point, we could play around with this and figure out what the angle is. We could find the inverse cosine of that value, and that would tell us what the angle was effectively. However, we don't need to do that. We don't need to know what this angle is, because actually all we'd end up doing is finding out what the angle is and then putting it in here as cos theta. So can you see what we've done is we need to put in the cosine of theta into our calculation to get the answer out, and we have found the cosine of theta there. Don't get mixed up and think this is the angle. This is the cosine of that angle, which means that actually we can just swap out the cosine of theta here for this number. So therefore, we're going to stick into our calculation now 0.724, because that number is the cosine of theta. We don't need to put cos in front of that. That's going to throw our calculation off again. That is the cosine of theta. I think I've made that point clear enough now. So what we're going to now do is just perform this calculation and figure out what the illuminance at point B is by sticking this into our calculator. Again, I like to use the fraction button. So we've got 2000 times by 0.724 divided by 2.9 squared. So 2000 times 0.724 divided by 2.9 squared. And that's going to give us an illuminance of 172.1, that's going to come out 0.18 lux if we round that off to 2 decimal places. Happy days. So we've completed the question successfully. We've figured out what the illuminance at point A is, 453.51 lux, and we figured out what the illuminance at point B is, 172.18 lux. So we've gone from this kind of quite innocent looking question. You can see there's quite a bit of work involved in getting those answers. This is the easy part. There's some easy points to be had there if this question comes up in your assessment. But then we've kind of, to get to this answer, we need to do a bit of Pythagoras and a bit of trigonometry as well. But actually, if you can kind of just follow the logical process of what we've looked at here, so don't get too bogged down in sort of what it all means. Actually, all we've done is figured out what that number is. That was quite straightforward with a bit of Pythagoras. And then we needed to figure out what that number was. And actually that was quite straightforward as well, just using a little bit of trigonometry. So hopefully that's kind of taken some of the fear out of this question. I've seen it appear before where it's phrased as this is like a tabletop, a lamp illuminating a tabletop, and it's saying what is the value of illuminance at the middle of the table and at the edge of the table, but it's exactly the same principle as to what we've done here. So hopefully we can follow that process now. If any of this is kind of alien or new, go and watch my other videos on this, and if you've not quite grasped this the first time round, then watch it again and just go through it stage by stage until it becomes clear. Quite often we don't understand things on the first pass and it takes a couple of attempts, and that's absolutely not a problem. I always say I never really understood AC theory the first time I looked at it. It took many years for it to finally click and for me to actually start understanding it. So sometimes these things take time. But all that remains in this video is to say thank you very much for watching.